Today we'll be working in my workbook called Opening a Window into the Psalms, which is on Psalms 1 through 21. Now, on the first psalm of every book I write, I go through these in detail, but I won't be doing it because we're not on the first psalm of the book. So you're welcome to stop the video and read this. This is a general study on Psalms. This is separating the Psalms into groups. The musical nature of the Psalms. These are words that are musical that we'll be using in this book or seeing in this book and reviewing. And then the poetic features of the Psalms, which I tend to work through quite a lot in the Psalms themselves. Now, looking at the table of contents, we're going to be doing a Psalm 12. And let's go ahead and go there. Okay, the faithful have vanished. Now, as I talked about in the other Psalms, the Psalm actually doesn't have a title. This title came from King James or New King James, and it describes the Psalm, and so I use it as a title for the Psalms. Makes it a little more interesting to figure out what's going on if you're going to pick a Psalm to speak on. And this is to the choir master, according to the Sheminith, the Psalm of David. And we will talk about all that in my comment section. Let me go ahead and read the psalm for you. Help, Lord, for no one is faithful anymore. Those who are loyal have vanished from the human race. Everyone lies to their neighbor. They flatter with their lips, but harbor deception in their hearts. May the Lord silence all flattering lips and every boastful tongue. Those who say by our tongues we will prevail, our own lips will defend us, who is Lord over us? Because the poor are plundered and the needy groan, I will now rise, said the Lord. I will protect them from those who malign them. And the words of the Lord are flawless, like silver purified in a crucible, like gold refined several times. You, Lord, will keep the needy safe and will protect us forever from the wicked, who freely strut about when what is vile is honored by the human race. Okay, like all Psalms, I'm giving you some commentary on the Psalm before we get into detail on it. And as like I had said in all the other Psalms, every commentator you pick for a Psalm will say something different about that Psalm. That's the exciting part and the scary part of reading Psalms when you're trying to study it, is that everybody will say something different. So what I've done is I've taken a selection of commentators and worked it that way. So this isn't all the only ones I like or whatever like that. I've just taken a selection. So first of all, we know it's part of the first book of Psalms. That's indisputable. There are, I think, 5 books of Psalms. I could be wrong, 4 or 5 books of Psalms. And this is the first book of Psalms. According to NIV's Study Bible, Psalm 12 is grouped in Psalms 3 through 14, which are composed of 12 prayers divided into 2 groups of 5, with the 6th, the 8 and 14, that characterize the human condition. In the case of Psalm 12, it's a plea for help in an ungodly time. According to Jamieson, Fausset, and Brown, Psalm 12 is considered a wisdom or didactic psalm in that there's a comparison between good and evil, much like Proverbs. Both the Thomas Nelson Chronology Bible and the Blue Letter Bible place this psalm in David's final years. It is a lament psalm. Most lament psalms are in David's final years, as he has several illnesses in his final years. David wrote this psalm to the choir master, which is interchangeable with the chief musician. In David's time, this would either be Asaph, Jeduthun, or Heman. Asaph was a prominent Levite, a worship leader, and a musician in the court. He composed or co-authored several psalms. Jeduthun, or also known as Ethan, was also a prominent Levite and musician. Heman the Ezrahite was a Levite, seer, songwriter, and magician. He also wrote a psalm. All these were at one time considered the choir master a chief magician. The psalm was to be played on a string instrument. A sheminith is an 8-stringed harp. Since the chiastic poetic structure of the psalm is easy to see, the psalm is divided into those sections. Chiastic structure is where there are outer layers that mirror each other, middle layers that mirror each other, and then a core, like ABCBA. In Psalm 12, we have the first section, people are faithless, spoken to God, which is Psalms 1 through 3. Okay. Then the second section is B, people speak flattery, spoken to people, is verse 4. And the next section is C, the core is God promises to help, spoken by God, verse 5. The fourth section is God speaks flawlessly, spoken to the people, which is verse 6. And the last section, God is faithful, spoken to God. And as you can see, spoken is to who the audience is in that case. Okay. The first section, A, the people are faithless, spoken to God. So this is where David is speaking to God. And we'll go ahead and read those 3 verses again. Help, Lord, for no one is faithful anymore. Those who are loyal have vanished from the human race. Everyone lies to their neighbor. They flatter with their lips, but harbor deception in their hearts. May the Lord silence all flattering lips and every boastful tongue. In the very first part, I'm going to actually move this right here, just so we don't have to go back and forth. Okay. In the very first part of verse 1, we see who David is talking to. Who is it? Lord. You can feel David's hopelessness in verse 1. In it, he states, help, Lord, for no one is faithful anymore. Those who were loyal have vanished from the human race. Another prophet in the Bible felt the same way. It wasn't true then, and it isn't true with David, but that is how they felt. 1 Kings 19, 9 through 10. And the word of the Lord came to him. What are you doing here, Elijah? He replied. I've been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to death with sword. I'm the only one left, and now they're trying to kill me too. In verses 2 and 3, David uses the words lips and tongue to basically mean the same thing as he tells the Lord about the problem. They flatter with their lips, but harbor deception in their hearts. May the Lord silence all flattering lips and every boastful tongue. The second section is verse 4. People speak flattery, spoken to the people. And then let's read verse 4. Those who say, by our tongue we will prevail, our own lips will defend us, who is Lord over us? David continues to talk about tongue and lips when he tells us what the people say in verse 4. By our tongues we will prevail. Our own lips will defend us, who is Lord over us. Okay, so I'm going to put this back into place so that it's there in the future. Okay, so let's go to the next page. Okay, the third section is God promises to help, spoken by God. And that's verse 5. So let's read verse 5. Because the poor are plundered and needy groan, I will arise, said the Lord. I will protect them from those who malign them. So who is speaking in verse 5? The Lord. According to verse 5, because the poor are plundered and the needy groan, what is the Lord going to do? He will now arise and protect them. We have a similar example of the Lord coming to rescue in Exodus. Exodus 2, 23-25. During that long period, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out, and their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. So God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. Later, he sends Moses to rescue them. Exodus 3, 7 through 10. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the suffering of my people in Egypt, and I've heard them crying because of their taskmasters. I know they are suffering. So I've come down to rescue them from the Egyptians and to bring them out of the land into a good land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Then he said, go on, go now. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. The next section, God speaks flawlessly, and this is spoken to the people from David, is on verse 6. So let's read verse 6. And the words of the Lord are flawless, like silver purified in a crucible, like gold refined 7 times. Now we have the key verse of the psalm, verse 6, a beautiful illustration of just how flawless and true God's word is. It is like silver purified in a crucible and gold refined 7 times. Note words in another synonym is another synonym of lips and tongue. David is contrasting the words of the Lord with the words of the flatterers. Okay. The last section is God is faithful, spoken to God, verses 7 and 8. So let's go ahead and read those. You, Lord, will keep the needy safe and will protect us forever from the wicked, who freely strut about and when what is vile is honored by the human race. And verse 7 is the answer to David's prayer. He says, Lord, you, Lord, will keep the needy safe and will protect us forever from the wicked. And verse 8, why can the wicked freely strut about? Because they are honored by the human race. Now notice other poetic structures that are in the whole psalm. How many and where are the phrases human race? Okay, let's take a look. Verse 1 has a human race. And verse 8 has a human race. In verses 5 through 7, you have 3 other sets of duplicated words and 1 duplicated phrase. What are they? So 5 through 7. Well, we know the Lord is repeated. That could be it. 3 other sets of duplicated words. Okay. We have needy, needy. You have needy twice. You have needy, and then protect. Another duplicated word, huh? Well, Lord, of course. So, and 1 duplicate phrase. Will protect us. Will protect. I guess that's the phrase. Now we can see the complete chiastic structure. The core verse C is I don't remember what C is. I have to remember what C is. Verse 5. Okay. Core verse C is verse 5. Because the poor are plundered and the needy groan, I will now rise, said the Lord. I'll protect them from those who malign them. Verse 5. Look at this name of the sections for B. How do they mirror each other? Okay, for B. People speak flattery spoken to people. God speaks flawlessly spoken to people. So they're the reverse of each other. And look at the name of the sections for A. How do they mirror each other? A. People are faithless, spoken to God, and God is faithful, spoken to God. So people are faithless, but God is faithful. So that's how they mirror each other. This psalm is not directly quoted elsewhere in the Bible, and Psalm 12 is also used during the Jewish circumcision ceremony and won the 8th day after the Festival of Tabernacles, I guess, and one of the Psalms spoke the 8th day after the Tabernacles. So that's the end of this psalm. I hope you enjoyed it and will continue with us on the other Psalms. Thank you.